Yeah, and you need to think in line with this paper, with this kind of thinking. When you are designing your research for explanation, when you are analyzing your data to find out the explanations, when you are in the findings and in the discussion of your thesis, and you want to actually answer why things happened like that. If you found, looked at the adoption of something, looked at the dynamic of a platform, looked at whatever, and you found something as a, and you described what we discussed last week, last session, now you need to explain it. So your supervisors will not actually release you, will not let you go with just a description. I found that this is the pattern. The more of this, the more of that. No, you need to stay and explain why. And did you notice that I added or highlighted S here, explanations? That's always the case. Any single monkey, any specific finding about that, even one case, you can have multiple explanations. Some of them might be rival explanations that you rule them out. Even those that remain might be multiple ones. So let's first talk about what is explanation. Explanation is just talking about why certain thing happens. Explanation is about why certain things happen in that way. Why the monkey behaves like that. Why the evolution of the platform has a U shape, not an exponential shape or any other thing. Why there is a big difference between gender groups in terms of the adoption of certain things. So this is all about why. And of course, when you think about the explanations, by definition, you need to think about the causality. Certain things impact certain other things. Causes, impacts, effects, causal relations. And linguistically, you start thinking and working with the explanation when you say because. Whenever in your writing you talk about because, then you are potentially talking about the explanation. A good point, a good test, if you write up your discussion and you don't see so much because, not just that you randomly add, meaningfully, it means that you haven't engaged with the explanation of your things. In the language, we say, can you explain it to me? That doesn't mean what we talked today about the explanation. Can you explain to me means can you elaborate? Can you give more information? Can you add more details? Can you be more clear? These are not the definition of explanation in the sense we are talking today. But if I say, can you say why this happened? What led managers decide that way? Then we are talking about the explanation that we talk about today. An explanation is kind of tricky. I get headache every morning that I wake up with my shoes on. Maybe I am drunk the night before, therefore I forget to take off my shoes. So that has to do with this way of thinking, why? So why should we care about explanation? There are multiple reasons. Historically, human beings are animals who want understanding, who want interpretation. That's just put aside. There is a very interesting historical story in terms of the development of the science. Theories and explanations are efficient ways of organizing and developing human knowledge. This is an interesting story. Archaeologists, not that long ago, found two different civilizations. I guess, I'm not fully sure now. One was in the side of Egypt, the other one was in the side of Babel. And they found two very different systems of calculating the area of the farm. In one civilization, they had tables of, if this is one step, is one side of the farm, the other one is two steps, then the area is two. If it is two, the other one is two, the area is four, and so forth. That was their way of calculating and documenting the measurement system. The other civilization had actually the formula, which is simply multiplying the two sides. So the multiplication, the formula is the theory, is the explanation. I mean, there are pragmatic reasons for explanations. If we know why, then we can work on those causes in order to create the effect. If we know what causes managers to be motivated to do certain things, we can potentially play with those factors to push them, lead them, motivate them to do that. And recently in your courses as a DBI student, you are all familiar with this explainable AI. What's the difference between non-explainable AI and explainable AI? Has to do with the explanation. It's not enough that you know that if you give these inputs, you get those outcomes. Yes, that's important, that's useful, that's pragmatically important, but you need to know why, at least some sense of explanation.